It's going. Yes, sir. We got Triple T in the house. We got K right here, K Moss. Hey, thank you everybody for whoever's going to join on this live stream on this beautiful Friday. And Triple T, just want to say congratulations on your first week of work at your new place of employment. I know you're loving it.
Wow.
Man, honestly, I just wanted to talk about what lessons learned this week, and we chop it up. I think Fridays is a good way to just talk about what we've learned and wrap up the week.
So the world for me right now is what we would call it a senior Salesforce Marketing Cloud developer, has been intense. It is a nonstop barrage of questions that by theory you've never thought about before, right? Because we're talking about live environment questions. Okay. We're talking about things that are going wrong in the real world situation with thousands and thousands of users. And I think that's going to be a great thing for us to cover. And I'm open to covering this issue by issue that me and you can go through in the environment and do now.
Yes.
I think it'll be a great thing to do. And what you'll realize is the fact that when you get a Jira story or you get a ticket, however you want to describe the issue that you get that comes across your desk, the first thing you have to do is remember you are the professional. You are the person that knows the system. And it is up to you once again. And I know we talk about demystifying, but here's a new level to it: interpretation. Okay. Because the person that is sending you the information with the issue doesn't exactly know the depth of the issue, the impact of the issue, or how easy it is to resolve. So these are key factors right now as I have finished up my first week of just absolute madness. 3 huge projects, 3 clients, 1 project that is just kicking off in sprint 1 coming up. Of course, I can't share any details, but every single part of the ecosystem or stage that these companies are in with their implementation, integration, or where they're at currently is a completely different trajectory when you deal from one client to the next. Each client has a different understanding of Marketing Cloud. Each client has a different aptitude of what they understand in Marketing Cloud outside of what they just read on the Salesforce website or what they hear at a convention or what they hear is the new shiny tool, whatever it might be. So it is essentially our job to be the professional and say, hey, this is what it can do and this is what it can't do. If this is what you need it to do, this is what I need from you. Okay. And that is a whole boiled down process for sure. And when I say boiled down process, I mean, we're talking about issues of, let's say, Kalen Moss worked for me. He's been with me for 6 years as a hardcore developer in my Marketing Cloud instance. He finds a new job. He has to leave, whatever the reason might be. All of a sudden, I need to transfer all of his work to what I would consider the new person to be. You want to talk about a very deep wormhole to make something like that happen? Go ahead and research it. Because every time you touch something in Marketing Cloud, your tattoo's on it, your mark is on it. And when you go to remove you from that, it's like severing all the lines that you created, right? So removing somebody is way harder than it is to put somebody in, let me tell you. Because you forget how the hierarchy of everything you've done has trickled down into other systems, other flows from Sales Cloud, Health Cloud, whatever it might be pumping into your system. That person has been the lifeblood of that connection, right? And all of a sudden it's time to end that connection and replace it with a new person. Fragile position, man. Fragile position, right? I will have to say I have a new respect for BAs that I've never had before. We can call them BAs, but we can also call them tech leads. We can call them mini project managers. We can honestly at times call them the front lines because they're the first ones that ping you and they're like, hey, should I push this button or not? You know what I mean? And it's just, all of it is just such a fantastic experience because, you know, the last 14 months of my life have been based on theory. And a lot of the time issues that me and you have created, Kaylin, where we're creating an issue for people to solve, even though we already know the answer. But when the issue is something you didn't create and you actually have to like, okay, what is the issue really? Like, what are we really dealing with? What is the level of impact? What is the level of repercussion? What do we need to focus on right now? Is this a red alert? And what do we need to do moving forward? So that's my first 5 days, right? First 5 days. And that is, I kid you not, that is just the whipped cream on top of the sundae of what I've been through this week. Yeah.
So would you say that coming from the background that you just came from, like as an instructor, has it helped you to think about these problems in a different way?
It's allowed me to talk about the way I think about the problems, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I remind everybody, you know, I've solved these issues theoretically over and over again. But to be there at the moment of what an issue that might not be described the way that me and you described it to begin with, that, you know, somebody that is on the other side of the fence is like, this is broken, don't know how to fix, you know, like it's up to us to take those words and be like, okay, let me look in here. Let me do some deep diving. Let me poke around. When you step into a developer role, you're going to do a lot of poking, right? You're going to be like, you know, what's hiding behind the bushes? What's hidden back there? What's really going on in the system? You know, why is this link broke? You know, why are these data extensions not allowing other people in? Who's controlling them? Who owns them? You know, it's an investigative process. So before you can even begin to work, this is something we haven't talked about before. Your level of investigation is more important than your level of action, because your level of action means nothing if your investigation has turned up not what you needed, right? So deep dives, dude, deep dives into, you know, we've been through setup. I don't know how many times together. We have been through areas that I explored this week. We've been through so many times together. And there are questions I asked myself where I'm like, what? You know, like, I'm like, I've never even thought about that concept before. I've never even thought about doing this before, what the repercussions might be, you know? So it has been a heck of a week, man. A heck of a week. Your boy been sleeping like 8 to 10 hours a night. My brain is on overload. Overload, man.
Dude.
Absolute low overload.
So would you say that going into next week, you feel more prepared, or do you feel like there is just so much to learn that you feel overwhelmed?
I don't feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
I feel like my brain has been absorbing a puddle of water only to a certain point, and now somebody took the sponge and was like, whap, and just smacked that bad boy down and just filled it all the way up and dunked it underwater, right? Like my brain is underwater. It's not overwhelmed, but it's like, holy crap, I've got to take all this in. Like, this is a different perspective, a different direction, a different viewpoint, a different set of shoes that I'm putting myself into. So yeah, all of those things together, they make, all I have to tell you is before anybody steps into becoming a developer, I need you to just take a moment and ask yourself, are you ready to dive into the dark, deep end of the pool where you can't see the bottom, you don't know how deep it is, and be able to tread water until you figure out an issue? Because that's what it's going to be. A developer role is for a survivor, because there's no point in time in the day where you're going to be hit with a repetitive sentence. Everything that comes to you is new. There's nothing that is like, oh, so far. I mean, even in the first week or even in anything we've ever talked about before, I've seen nothing the same. And I can see that there will be nothing the same moving forward. Everything will be new. Every issue I see will be new. I can create a tech document over every single thing I see. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can create a repository. And that might come into effect for that rare one-off issue, right? Because let's say that an admin solves normal issues every day, right? An admin solves access issues, whatever might be happening in automations, okay? An email specialist solves email issues, whatever might be broken in an HTML content or an image or whatever that might be. A developer, all of it. Like, you got to just take it all in. Because I don't have an admin. I don't have an email specialist. I have a BA, a PM, and a solution architect. Okay. That's all I have as a developer. And I would say my PM is also my tech lead, he's fantastic. My solution architect is a baller. My head PM, she is fantastic. But dude, being a developer, I just need everybody to prepare themselves for the first couple of weeks because it's going to be intense. It's going to be intense.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So you're saying developer, are you like, explain what you mean by developer. And then are you saying like developer as a consultant, or you're actually in the code? What do you mean by developer specifically?
So it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both. So I'm developing solutions from a consultant perspective, but I'm also developing solutions from the backend perspective. So like yeah. So it could be code, it could be SQL, it could be whatever they need done, right? There's so many things that it could be on the back end, right? But on the front end, I'm also playing the role of, hey, I can give you the technical aspects of what are about to happen next, and why this is about to happen, and why it occurred. And now I'm going to go fix it. Yeah. So yeah, it's both.
Do you work with other people like offshores or anything like that?
So I wouldn't consider them my offshore team. They are definitely my hub, though, when it comes to, I would call it overnight development. They handle some development projects, but now that I'm starting to be intermediately intertwined into the team, we are working together now as me being US side and them being India side together as a team in the mornings to go in and just head first into these Jira tickets, right? We're attacking these things, and they are much more on the back end side than I am. So yes, they are better at SQL. They are better at AmScript. They are better at code. Absolutely. That's what they're doing all the time, right?
Yeah.
But I know how to just convene those technical requirements and demos to the customer, as well as understand what they're doing. So it's a fine line of hands to keyboard and also words out of your mouth. Yep.
Okay. And then would you say that I had a question right when you said something, you were saying something. I'm thinking of so you work with a team that's offshore.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Take us through. This is the last question I got for you because I got to go to a concert here in a second.
No, you're good. You're good. Hit me.
Take us through, for everybody watching, and appreciate you, Pernell, appreciate you, Josh, for being on the live stream here. If you could take us through a day in the life of a marketing cloud developer / consultant, walk us through from showing up to work to the day that work ends.
So basically, I queue in about 90 minutes, 2 hours before meetings start. We have our stand-ups every morning. So I'm kind of a unique individual at the company right now, where I'm covering 3 different projects, and each project is an individual area in the company, right? Where an individual team is taking care of that area. But since I'm the specialist, I'm jumping from pod to pod. So I hop in early in the morning. I make sure I don't miss anything from my outside crew in India, right? My boys in India. Make sure I catch up on any notes they shared, anything they might have shared about what hiccups they might have seen in the evening. Then I make sure I follow up on any of my tasks leading up to my meetings for the updates I need to give for the day. Once I get through those meetings, currently what I'm doing is I'm assessing JIRA storyboards that are describing issues in a certain ecosystem. I am breaking down those issues into somewhat of a small technical document. I'm providing that to my PM, and then me and my PM get together to resolve said issue. That's one part of my day. The other part of my day is I'm initially aligning with several other development teams to build out what we need for sprint week 1. Marketing Cloud comes in week 3. So I need to make sure all of my discovery, we call it a spike report, which is a research report during your agile run, okay? During your agile sprint. It's how you account for the hours you're equating to the client, okay? So Josh, so what happens is the fact that I am building up to week 3, and then that is when the integration starts for me. Ask me who's taking care of that integration from start to finish.
Who?
Me.
You.
So, yep. So I will be step 1 at MCC, Marketing Cloud Connect, all the way to the end of setting up journeys for this sprint. So week 3 to week 12, I will be there working with the client, making sure the person who's going to step into what I'm teaching them how to do is able to step into that role. They understand what's going on in the basics, and then I'm out. I'm just there to answer questions.
So you'll be like the point of contact for the client afterwards.
Correct. I will be POC for SFMC across all 3 clients.
Okay, so you're going to be, and then what happens if they bring on a new client, and are you going to be acting as POC for those 3, and then you'll start implementing another project?
Yes.
Okay, so
yep.
Do you think there will be a point where they say, okay, Therion's supporting too many clients as a point of contact?
There will eventually need to be another me at some point.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But everybody in here that knows me knows I'm a workhorse and I got broad shoulders. So it's going to take a bit. It's going to take a bit to break that horse's back. Kaylin knows me very well. Yeah. I juggled 3 global courses, 3 time zones as a program manager for my boy here teaching. He never had to deal with a single issue. All he had to do was come in and teach, and I was out. I did everything else.
Yep.
So it'll be a bit. I'm working somebody else out of a job right now, but it's okay. I'll eventually break.
Dude, hey man, I'm just thinking about like next week when we talk about this, like how much we'll have to talk about each day and the day in the life type of stuff.
And I really feel like we can start now that I've spent my first week and I got a feel for things that we can start talking about some real world scenarios that we've never discussed before.
I love it, man.
Some real world issues that are people like, we never covered this in the exam. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
But hey, everybody subscribe, share, like, everybody, tell everybody. We're just giving away free knowledge here. If you want to know what it's like to be an SFMC developer, I'm here. I'm doing it. I went from an instructor to a developer. So I'm here to answer questions. If you have questions, bring them to us. Tell other people to bring them to us if they have questions about it. That's what we're here for. Subscribe, follow, share, love us. We love you. We show up for you all the time.
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm excited. Sir. I think a lot of people will see like, all right, day in the life. This is what they're going through. I think I like that, man. I like this. I like the direction we're headed with this. This is a good one.
For sure. It was a good step for me to step out of the ecosystem we were in to bring in a new perspective.
Yes.
And before we sign off, I want to say this is from Mazatlan, Mexico.
Shout out
Mazatlan, Mexico, from a dear
friend.
Like
Emperor's New Groove over here.
From a dear friend that I love to death. And I thank her dearly because I dig it. I don't know how people in Maine are going to feel about it, but spring is in my house right now. I feel like I'm ready for spring.
Hey, you look like you smell good, bro.
Dude, all I'm missing is a straw hat and a cigar, bro. That's all I'm missing right now.
You look clean, bro. You just need to be out on the beach.
Oh man. But hey, have a great concert. Josh, thank you. Purnell, thank you. Everybody that's watching, we appreciate you every day. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, we will.
Yes, sir.
All right, you want to do the sign off?
Minute admin out, baby. Happy
Minute
Friday,
admin out.
everybody. Happy St. Patty's Day. Kaylin, be safe. Don't get in that rodeo.
I'm about to ride a bull, bro.
I know you were. Daggone it. Bye.
See ya.